0% on your EV dashboard, it's lying to you on purpose to keep your battery alive. You look at the gauge, you panic, you plug in, or you keep driving and hope. But 0% on an electric car is not a true empty tank. It's a safety zone built by engineers. In this video, we'll peel back the cover and show why there is a hidden reserve below 0%, why your car won't die the instant numbers hit zero, what that buffer does for battery life, and what actually happens when the hidden reserve finally runs out. Stick around because the part about what really damages batteries will surprise people who obsess over always charging to 100% or never hitting zero. Think about a glass that's labeled from 0 to 100. In real life, the glass is bigger than the numbers printed on it. Battery makers only let you see part of that glass because the chemistry hates the extreme. The number you see is usable state of charge, not the actual total energy inside the pack. Batteries have top and bottom buffers, safety margins, the battery management system enforces so cell never truly reaches the dangerous extremes of 0 or 100%. This is why many cars still have a tiny bit of juice after the dash hits 0, and why some cars refuse to take a full 100% without a specific full charge command. Why do manufacturers hide charge? Lithium-ion cells wear out faster when they hit full or empty for long periods. High states of charge accelerate certain degradation reactions, and very low states risk over-discharge and chemical changes that can break cells. The BMS uses buffers to keep the cell's voltages with a safe window where the chemistry stays stable and predictable. Think of it as the guardrail that stops you from driving the battery off a cliff. That's not a paranoia, it's based on decades of battery research and industry practice. The practical result of this buffer is twofold. First, the displayed 0% is often still a few percent of actual energy left in the pack, enough to limp you to a charger in most cases. Second, the hidden reserve protects cells from deep discharge, which otherwise can cause permanent damage like copper dissolution, lithium plating on the anode, and loss of active materials. Deep discharges also make cell balancing and pack health harder over time because weaker cells get stressed. Here's the tricky part. Drivers don't see the buffer and humans react to numbers. If the dash says 0%, you feel empty, even if the pack still has energy. That leads to two common bad behaviors. Some drivers live in fear and constantly top up to 100%, which actually shortens battery life. Others push until 0% and think they're saving cycles, but repeated deep discharges, or worse, truly going below the buffer, can permanently damage the pack. The BMS is trying to help, but without a little education, owners make choices that cost longevity. Another challenge is that the BMS estimates aren't perfect. State of charge is an estimate that combines voltage, current integration, and model-based predictions. Over time, with cells aging, the BMS recalibrates, and the visible 0% can drift. The uncertainty is why some cars keep a larger reserve buffer. The safer the dealer wants to be, the more energy they hide from you. In other words, 0% is partly a product decision, not just a technical necessity. Let's unpack what the buffer does step by step. First, bottom buffer prevents cell voltages from dipping below a threshold where side reactions accelerate. At very low voltage, the SEI layer, the protective coating on the anode, can break down. When that happens, the battery loses capacity and gains resistance, which shows up as a shorter range and poorer power delivery. Repeatedly hitting low voltages accelerates this fear. Researchers and practitioners have shown that limiting depth of discharge and avoiding extremes extends cycle life. That's why industry test protocols rarely cycle cells from 0 to 100%. Second, the top buffer prevents overvoltage, which increases cell stress and instability at high cathode. Holding a lithium-ion cell at a very high state of charge for long periods accelerates capacity fade through structural changes in the cathode and growth of unwanted layers. So battery makers limit the usable cap maximum to letting drivers charge to say 80% for daily use and only permit to 100% when you explicitly request a full charge. The trade-off between energy and lifespan is fundamental. Third, there is the role of the BMS and pack level balancing. Cells age differently and can have slightly different capacities. The BMS keeps cells balanced and prevents weak cells from being pushed into extremes even if the pack average looks fine. If the pack were allowed to run truly to 0% and 100% every cycle, weaker cells would hit harmful extremes, accelerating pack level failure. The buffer gives the BMS room to manage these variations safely. Fourth, what happens if that buffer is exhausted? If the pack truly goes below the safety cutoff, for example by sitting unused for months or by extreme discharge caused by a fault, you risk irreversible damage. Over-discharge can cause copper current collector dissolution that creates internal shorts or cause the cell to lose active lithium, both of which reduce usable capacity permanently or even make the cell unsafe. In the worst case, a severe over-discharge pack can be irrecoverable and unsafely hard to charge. That's why some vehicles refuse to boot after a true 0% event until technicians apply specialized recovery procedures. Here's the take-home. 0% is designed safety friction that gives you a margin of error. It prevents damage, helps balancing, and improves longevity. But it's only guardrail, not a guarantee. Abuse the battery by frequently charging to extreme states or letting it sit fully discharged for long stretches, and you will pay with faster capacity loss and possibly expensive repairs. The moment that hidden reserve is truly exhausted is a turning point from the recoverable wear to permanent harm, and fixing that is often costly. To make it concrete, imagine two drivers. Driver A charges nightly to 80% with letting the car drop to below 20% for everyday use and does a 100% charge only on long trips. Driver B habitually charges to 100% then leaves the car parked on full for days and also drives until 0% regularly. Over a few years, driver A's battery health will be measurably better, less capacity fade, more consistent range, fewer warranty headaches, and better. That's not theoretical. Battery aging models and long-term fleet data shows these trends. So what does 0% actually mean? It's a safety margin. It's the BMS saying we are not letting you go to the chemistry cliff. That margin keeps in a happy middle ground, where aging is slower and the pack stays safer. Treat the 0% mark like an emergency reserve, not a target to test your luck, to get the most out of your EV battery. Don't live at 100% and don't repeatedly run to 0%. Use the car's built-in charge limits for daily top-ups when convenient, and reserve 100% charge for trips. That little shift in behavior costs nothing and extends battery life measurably. If you want to learn more about the battery management system, you can refer to the BMS course free education in this channel. The links are in the description. Thank you.